What makes the Body Missing website a work of art is that it raises questions and also encompasses elements from the videotape that preceded it. In particular, the artists that are doing reconstructions of missing works. So it's an homage, a kind of homage to artists of another era whose works were pawns in a totalitarian and cruel regime that had a very dreadful cultural policy that involved theft. The template on which I structured the website is the floor plan, or the several floor plans, of the Offenes Kulturhaus when it was a Wehrmacht prison. Between its prison days and the present, it's now been renovated completely, and it's now the OK, standing for Offenes Kulturhaus, Center for Contemporary Art. So it's like a major rebirth, and it does all the installations for Ars Electronica, which is the major international electronic arts festival and venue. But the floor plans were haunting, because those were the days when people were tortured in that building. I invited artists in different countries, wherever the work was installed, to choose where, figuratively speaking, or cybernetically speaking, where they would want to situate themselves on the website. And some of them chose the Great Hall upstairs, and some of them chose the basement, and some of them, and some of these artists had been in the exhibition with me, and they had come into the edit room when I was editing, and they looked at what was then a fiction, the fiction being in voiceover, that there are a number of artists who want to make a work, each of them make a work of art in memory of or in homage to a missing artist and a missing work. And when I wrote that, I thought this was just, a narrative that was going to carry the 6 tapes. And then a number of people said, well, we'd really like to do that. And it's not the first time in my working life that I've designed something that came about. Even with Lumsden, somebody turned up at a talk I gave in Montreal and said, why are you using my name in your art? I and my family wish to know. I nearly fell flat. That's another story. But with the Body Missing project, which you're asking about, it's an artwork because it raises all kinds of questions about that era, about people's relation to art in that era. It has within it contributions by other artists. And while it's an elaborate work, it's certainly a work that can be encompassed by the viewer. It's large enough so that you visit it differently each time. And it also has a strong documentary element where we did some rather serious research. And in fact, I think, when was it? In 2000, when it was shown in Detroit in 2000, and then it came to Toronto, and it was shown at the Goethe Institute. And I got phone calls from several journalists, because during the run of the show, the National Gallery announced 100 artworks of questionable provenance. And I'd been trying for years to get that information, and they'd all denied it. No, everything in our collection is perfect. We know exactly who sold it and when it was owned by so-and-so, and they weren't having any. And then suddenly they released 100 names of artworks onto the web, taking their cue, I think, either from MoMA or the Metropolitan. It was some New York major institution, and I guess, in my more skeptical moments, because the families of those that might have owned those artworks might already have died, so they wouldn't have to face legal proceedings. So what journalists were saying to me was, did the body missing project provoke this revelation? And I said, I wish that were true, but no, I doubt it. It might have raised consciousness, which is the term you used earlier, and created a climate of opinion, but the fact is the galleries have their own way of doing things, and they're not always honorable. There is no clean gallery in the world. They all did backdoor deals after World War II, and some are still going on. So that's why My Body Missing site is not a database. It's a probe, it's a question.